I really doubt how they have reached over there, but they are there. इतने mediocres from top to bottom भरे हुए हैं. They don't want any intelligent people to work for them, and that's why they select another mediocre. I called him and I told him, I explained him that look, this is the kind of thing, very tough, time-bound kind of thing, and I want at my price this should be done. He says, "वो सब ठीक है sir, but at your price is something difficult." I said, "Get lost." I used to give them the fair opportunity. We used to equate all the terms, and I used to openly tell them that, and put them in one room. And before you go, you're going to give me the final no-nonsense price.
What is your funda? How you used to build your A team?
First and foremost, when you want to develop leadership and you spot people, you first need to study them well. For example, I require a guy in a project, and if he may be very intelligent, but he is physically handicapped, such guy can never work over there. I need a guy in a project who can sacrifice his family. Suppose he has a lot of problems at home and all. I studied it. Not a sad thing. There is nothing wrong in that. But I cannot put such a guy because he will not be able to concentrate kind of thing. So also technical knowledge. If I require somebody with a very high technical job and who has no flair, knowledge is not something is anything. What you have today may be obsolete. But if you have a flair and capability of acquiring new, you are my man, not otherwise. Otherwise you cannot say, I was taught like this, forget about it.
You talk a lot about now the positive sides where you have learned. I also wanted to understand about some challenging sides where I think you must have come across so many challenges where whatever decisions you might have taken might have went very wrong, and you might have learned a lot from that. So any such kind of
I don't think there is any man in the world who has not taken any wrong decision.
Of course.
And I would rather say that if somebody has taken 10, I might have taken 100. Okay, that's not. And I always felt that taking wrong decisions sometime is good. It's good for health, because it really, you judge yourself, where do we stand and all this thing, and what helps you in doing things. So I sincerely feel that there were no something like very drastically wrong decisions, but there are many times there were tough situations where I had to do this thing. One of the very tough situation was when in GSK, we found that the merger was taking place, and whatever was spoken to us about the merger, the ethics of merger, it is a merger of equals, it will be merger of merit. Never it happened like that, I can tell you very frankly. It was merger of balancing act, it was merger of all kinds of things. And many places, the people who stayed didn't deserve, people who went out, they were miserably this kind of, there are many cases has happened. And I found that process in that company. See, look, I went because I got a very good package, but I can tell you very frankly, that was not a fair treatment. So I can tell you very frankly, if that thing was not there, I would have never left, in spite of that, because I was performing like anything, and that came into my way. The first time in life it so happened that the performance comes in the way, and probably that was a very tough situation for my.
So your high performance was
yes, that was one of the things. We were very sad. We felt that why that performance, because we were performing, and then maybe people at some and they were getting exposed. The earlier people, what they were doing, Glaxo made such a blunder, it's like Himalayan blunder. You give half the Kashmir to them, and now we are asking questions, what is happening to this kind of thing? They acquired companies without doing any due diligence. They acquired, and who did all the dirty work of closing? I did. Without spending company's money. Company has spent crores of rupees on consultants and all. That job was done by me free of cost. The result, I was shown the way when the time came. That's a very tough situation, but still, I have no regrets for that. That's a part of life. What can we do? When the company merged, only one guy has to stay. Now that guy who has to stay, he could be you or he. So fine, they have used that alibi against you or something like that. So it was inevitable. But yes, it was a tough decision. So I will not say that I didn't feel sad. I felt miserable. I did.
Sir, and any in your life, does it happen in that way? You took some small decisions, but then surprisingly that has turned around the things.
Not to exactly answering your question straight, that a small decision which has turned around this thing, But it did happen in some cases, especially when we have done away with some people. Okay, sometime it proved to be supporting, and sometime it proved to be against the situation. So it was, according to me, nothing great kind of thing, but yes, it did have impact both ways, positive as well as negative. That was regarding this thing. Regarding big machinery, I don't recollect of having taken any very sad, I will not say wrong, but any sad decision which is the wrong technology and all this, or never happened like that. It never happened like that. Major contractor selection and all these things also, some of them are so good friend of mine. Even today I am in good, see for example, Fabtech, I am on the board of that company. And when we had to make that plant, I called Asif and his that colleague, what's his name? Asaf Usmani. You know him, that Asaf Usmani? Now he works for some other company.
I know the Asif, yeah.
So I called him and I told him, I explained him that look, this is the kind of thing, very tough, time bound kind of thing, and I want at my price this should be done. But he says, "वो सब ठीक है sir, but at your price is something difficult." I said, "Get lost. अगर करना है तो ये price में ही करना पड़ेगा." So I called him, and I still recollect that was Ramzan time, and those guys had to go. He said, "No, we have to go for offering namaz and all these things." So do one thing. What time is your namaz? He told me something saying that now. You come to my office in Dabur. We had a huge room. My Dabur office, my room was at least twice the size of this room.
Oh, really?
It had a bar inside, which was Dr. Burman's previous. Of course, I used to keep file in that, but and then it was a huge bathroom with geyser and all these facilities. Sofas were 2-3 sofas were there. Huge kind of thing. So I said, do one thing. You come to my office. I will organize for your roza ka thing, and I will put that mat and all. You can offer namaz and break your roza. But today you are deciding on that. I pushed them to wall. They said, "It's ajeeb ka ho gaya." I said, "How can it be that you are pushing us to?" I said, "It's up to you. Because you will be directly driven by God. He will tell you whether you are going to sin." So I use a sort of a religious kind of pressure on them, and then they said, "Yes, sir. Show me the paper.
I will sign it."
But they did good job.
But I actually heard lot story about this. I learned about when one of the time you wanted to buy one machine, and you call the vendor and you make them seated for a whole day. He was traveling from Delhi or somewhere as your negotiation strategy. So tell me more about it. It was a very interesting story.
What happened? We wanted to buy this thing, transformer.
Okay.
And not transformer, the generator, sorry. Sudhir generator, that Kirlos company, the generator was there. There were 3 bidders, and I used to give them the fair opportunity. We used to equate all the terms and give the degree of difficulty depending upon, I suppose if your service is good, her spare parts is good, this fellow's price is, all kinds of things. You apply that multiplying factor and come across this thing that you are the person to begin. And I used to openly tell them that and put them in one room. By evening.
So all vendors in one room.
One room is different. The glass with all the facilities like tea, coffee, computer access, phone, bin. Sab wo time mein itna ye nahi tha, but sir, you do it. And before you go, you're going to give me the final no nonsense price. And I will not negotiate with you anything. If you say, "Arey, she is giving 99 and you had said 100, yaar humko bolna tha na, hum bhi 10 rupees kam kare," say nothing. You take, and they used to be virtually restless. They don't know what she is quoting, what you are quoting, what he is quoting. And finally, I used to get the best of the thing. And finally, I said, "Okay, now you open your this thing, and who is the lowest, you tell me." Because I have already equated, and I had given you that degree of difficulty factor. I will multiply it and equate you along this thing. And that fellow is okay, fine, take the job. So that is
Thank God I was not the vendor.
So we said, according to me, lowest is not the case. We will evaluate you, equate you along with others, giving you the weightage. You may be higher, but why you are higher if you are having this plus point? She may be lower, but why lower? Because so that will reduce that point, and then equate everything. So your 100 rupees will be equivalent to her 120, will be equivalent to 150 of it. That's the kind of thing we were doing. It's not a L1 always. L1 to my cook will do. You don't require every.
And L1 spoils everything. That's my viewpoint.
No. Yeah, this is what it, and I always sense in the industry, again practice one thing. I always felt that you should give reasonable price to any vendor, because he should make good profit. Why he is working? Do you think he is working for any seva or thing? Forget it. He's working for something. He has to be going to his employees. He has to run his operation. He has to work his everything. And if you don't give him all that, where he will go? And you squeeze him. You squeeze him. Do you mean to say he gets squeezed? No way. He doesn't get squeezed. He squeezes you in somewhere else. Most of the time, some people are. I mean, I give you an example, but not tell the name of the man. He was very fond of negotiating very hard, very hard, very hard. Very good. We had to buy one blow-fill seal machine from Romalag, another Swiss company, German Swiss company. Okay. And he negotiated a lot, kind of thing. Very good. They got negotiated also. Up negotiate karo, they got negotiated. And he came out very clean that, look, I negotiated the price and got this price. You know where they got screwed? They put a clause there that all the change parts, spare parts and all this you will buy only from us. And the die of that machine, which was, if you make it in Ludhiana, was costing 7 lakhs, it was costing 4 crore with them.
Oh my goodness.
So whenever you want to change part from this mold to this mold, you have to buy only from Romaga, 4 crore. Cipla was buying same thing and 7 lakhs. I asked Devinder Singh, यार तुम कहाँ से कर लेते हो? बोले तो लुधियाना में 7 लाख में करके मिलता है और वो 4 महीने लेता है, ये 15 दिन में करके देता है. This is what is the negotiation you get screw. You don't know where he will screw. They will change the 10 motors in this kind of thing. Even if you change some small little winding class of that motor, you will not come to know. Correct. You know, such a big, huge equipment, which is size of this room.
Yeah.
And there are 10 motors over there. And if you change the mix or rating of some motor here, you will not come to know. You can't just go and each and every motor and check what is the winding, what kind of winding has been used. You will not come to know at all.
True.
And you will still get, I have negotiated. What you have negotiated, sir? So that fair price has to
being
be
fair is very important.
Some people believe in negotiating and squeezing the supplier. I always practice in the industry, give him reasonable money. You expect GMP from him, you expect service from him, then he will give you all that service.
So important.
These are all the classical things we have forgotten, and we are going on all kinds of high funda thing, like all kinds of thing, and the results you see what happens.
Sure. So let me now move towards leadership aspect once again. Another aspect of leadership, where developing leadership. I met with so many of your mentees, your team member, and they talk so highly about you. Of course, they have told me so many stories about your stay in UK, your various leadership lessons in UK. So what is your funda? How you used to build your A team?
First and foremost, when you want to develop leadership and you spot people, you first need to study them well. And you must understand that there are some basic ingredients in that particular individual. I use the terminology very
interesting.
Basic ingredients of basic what is required. For example, if I require a guy in a project, and if he may be very intelligent, but he is physically handicapped, such guy can never work over there. I need a guy in a project who can sacrifice his family. Suppose if he has a lot of problems at home and all. I studied it. Not a sad thing. There is nothing wrong in that. But I cannot put such a guy because he will not be able to concentrate kind of thing. So also technical knowledge. If I require somebody with a very high technical job and fellow has no flair, knowledge is not something is anything. What you have today may be obsolete. But if you have a flair and capability of acquiring new, you are my man, not otherwise. Otherwise you cannot say, I was taught like this, forget about it. So such kind of basic ingredients as required for a particular role, if you identify and if you find that thing, and the most important ingredient is again the honesty and sincerity. If that is there, you develop him by first giving some small thing, and once you are confident, give him the responsibility, but tell him Dr. Kalam's statement. If this success happens, it is you. And if it fails, it's me. Just tell him, and that's all what they do for you.
Yeah, I heard about one story in Dabur when you say to Dr. Burman that if my team fails, you get that person on board. If he fails, I will resign.
Correct. And that was always my thing. He said, how? I said, okay. If he doesn't perform, you take the responsibility. If he doesn't perform, Manish has to be made plant manager in UK. He was a QA guy. Manish was a QA guy. Our plant manager I sacked. As an Angrez, I sacked our plant manager, which nobody could do. That's what I said. Lot of things I said, okay, fine, fire him. So we fired him. Then some of the people they were trying to hire somebody. I said, don't do that. We have this boy who will do it. My own managing director came and he said, no, Shyam, he doesn't have a manufacturing experience. I said, what do you want? Result or experience? Kya karna hai? You whether I am there to stand. No, I am a director manufacturing. Mujhe finally dena. And whether he does or not, that I will see. Why are you worrying about? He said, no, it's not a question of worrying. 6 months down the line, we will not have time to even think what has gone wrong. I said, why you worry about it? I'm risking my life. You can do it. And you know what happened? Kya ho gaya? Sabne dekha. That is what is the deal. Because I always knew that this, and I told him that you do whatever you want. If it is not working, gadbad ho gaya, I am responsible. If it is success, it is you. You tell me which fellow will not work.
I agree.
And such mature decision I have taken. Listen, you may call it by luck or something like that. Everything paid. When I wanted to make a plant in Dabur, I picked up Vikas Namdoshi, one of my this thing. He was a very junior fellow in Lupin. When I used to be a president in Lupin, Vikas was in some corner, I don't even recollect. But I had known this boy is working. So I wanted a chief engineer at Dabur. I searched and I asked my HR guy, get Vikas Namdoshi, let us see. Everybody told me, sir, he's a very junior fellow. I said, who had to deliver, you or me? Even one of my very senior man in Lupin, he rang me up. He said, sir, वो बहुत junior आदमी हो क्या करेगा? I said, हो गया ना, you keep quiet, I'm there. You are not working for Dabur, I'm working for it. And when he did wonders, everybody said, yeah, how is it? I mean, that's my confidence. So I knew about this. This is my leadership quality.
How you got confidence, but what ingredient you used?
No, it's okay. I saw his capability of working, delivering, and he did it in a small way. I extrapolated it. It's okay. And then, because I had known the job very well. See, another trouble here, what happened? That what he was doing, I knew everything about that job. Only he was doing. I was not doing, but I was watching, so I knew about it. He couldn't go wrong. See, something like the driving school, the instructor is a good driver. You do whatever, गलत किया तो उसके पास है ना सब करने के. Why are you worrying about it?
A good example, very nice example.
So it is like that. When you know your job, most of the time क्या होता है? Most people, and again, whether it's a part of the broadcast or I don't know, pharma industry is full of mediocres. Very, very average kind of people, and some of them I really doubt how they have reached over there, but they are there. इतने mediocres from top to bottom भरे हुए हैं. They don't want any intelligent people to work for them, and that's why they select another mediocres. And the job is that's why the job is run by the consultants and all these things. And these guys are there only for signing. They don't know their job. If you know your job, it's okay, then you can do it. The main trouble is that people don't know their job well. And then they blame people or whatever. That's the reason I said I know that. The project, I know how to do that, and I'll say if he's doing, he was perfectly doing. Every time he will take my approval wherever there is a deviation and all this. So I will do that thing. So I don't think there is anything great in delegate. People are very scared of delegating. That's a very typical that mother-in-law kind of feeling. The new bahu comes, she wants to hold everything in hand. Doesn't want to give it to her because ये सर पे चढ़ जाएगी. क्या problem है? If you are that kind of weak, she will तो सर पे ही चढ़ेगी. But if you are strong enough and good enough, why nothing will happen to her and to you also. We don't want to delegate with our responsibility. And that kind of very typical Indian managers kind of keeping everything. You ask me everything. You ask me everything. Nothing great happens, as if he is going to tell some. Nothing happens.
You also talk about the very important quality in leader is not to do their job. You were telling the story also about that. So one hand you say कि you need to know that job, but on the other hand you say कि we really don't need to do that job.
As a leader, during your course of this kind of thing, internship or so, you have done that job. And when you reach at the top, don't do that job if you have people to do for it. And if you know that your people are competent or incompetent, you will come to know because you know the job. It's not that you didn't know it's
but
not
is it very difficult for the leader to see that that person is not doing, and I know that. So what happens with me?
No,
it's
not
I
like
know that. It's
I
my
gave
fault,
the situation which I told you that I knew that these guys know the answer, but it was just the internal politics which was creating the ruckus in between. Who will do? She will do, I will do, or what? Why do? It's her job, not my job. मैं क्यों करूँगा? All kinds of. I knew about it. That's the reason with confidence I said, you do it by tomorrow 10 o'clock, otherwise I don't need to see you. That's all. And the job was done. Because he knew that bloody this fellow has done that coating of methoxy
So I think
tablet.
let's talk about that story because it's a very important lesson for us.
No, we
So,
said that.
Yeah, can you please tell me the story from the start?
No, what happened? There was a tablet called thyroxine, which is a tablet which is used for that thyroid.
Thyroid,
thing. And that was a product made in Burroughs Wellcome, my days when I was in Burroughs. We had known about what's the issue. Then the Glaxo Wellcome and SmithKline
Merger happened, yeah.
So we wanted to bring that tablet to Nashik. So we had known what are the tricky things which are required for this tablet. First and foremost, when it was brought over here, there was a lot of reluctance. Why we should do, why should not be given. So I realized what was the issue. The problem was not with the processor, the problem was with people. So I realized that thing. That's why I said if they still continue with the problem, I would have done it. That's the reason I know the problem. But if you don't do it, I will. But then I don't need you. Otherwise, they will always think that kuch problem nahi hai, tell the boss, he will do it, and then he said no. Why? I am hiring you for doing the work. And if I start doing your work, why do I need you? And that was my standard practice. Any time, any problem coming, if it is a real good problem, it's okay, fine, we'll do it. But if I find you're trying to pass on a buck, that kind of thing is happening and you want me to do, no, I will not do.
So you directly said ki
Yes, sir.
you come
And
by,
sometimes then that first example, it was my very initial days in this. The first example got set. Then he said, "Arey baap, abhi iske saath panga lena bekar hai." And they themselves will do a lot of homework and come. And if there is a real issue, then they will come, not otherwise. Most of the time, even people dine below also, they say that the boss is weak. Especially when you are technically weak, they take you for a ride. How do I know that when the reply has to be written, the reply will go in 10 days? How do I know that? Because I know that the reply will go in 10 days. And that's why I was to go and commit. And how that it is to go in 10, it has gone in 10 days. Because we know that is a 10 days equivalent of work.
Correct. So that means that as a leader, I really need to know that first that person is capable or competent enough to do that job.
Yes.
And if he is not doing it, then we need to know that where to press.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Yeah. So I also came to know about your various strategies. So as a leader, you don't drink alcohol.
Yeah.
That I learned. But you have one of the most exclusive bar in your house also, and you used to have something in your cabin also.
Yeah.
What was it?
No, the trouble here is that I felt that look, there are certain things, if you do in proper proportion and all these things, then nothing is bad. Drinking is normally taken as a sort of very bad habit, and it could be your personal habit. So you should not bring your personal habit in work. Just because you don't drink, this means you are a very good man, or just because you drink, this is a bad man. It's not kind of thing.
Agreed.
And once in a while, for fun and frolic, because this is what I learned in GSK, reward and celebrate. So celebration, because every small thing there has to be celebration. And the celebration was something which you have got to do it. And suppose for some time, if somebody is drinking and all, that is a part of it's not every day you have to drink. Once in a while, once in 6 months, once in this thing, it's a celebration. I did a lot of things for celebration, I can tell you, reward and celebration. I tell when I joined as a technical director of GlaxoSmithKline, I was already in GlaxoSmithKline. My secretary never traveled on company's expenses for any reason in her 43 years of life. Because the boss never felt that she has to be taken. I said, no, when you are a corporate meeting, we have a management committee meeting, all my direct reportees are coming. You are also my direct reportee. You should also come, because all the secretarial work which will be required for those tools, you will be doing sitting there. So why you shouldn't come? When she told her husband that she is going to be in Goa in that Fort Agua 5-star, he couldn't believe it. He said, make sure that other money will be deducted from your PF. He said, no, we will pay for it. Then next meeting we had then Rajputana Sheraton in Jaipur. They could never imagine. I said, why not? What on earth you will not keep such people motivated? You tell me. Yeah, that's it. See, it's not only the taking a secretary. In Glaxo, it was no, keep it up. All your employees are there. Every time she deals with all your confidential things. Why not when a management committee meeting is there, let her sit there. taking minutes, everything is there. So many other secretarial jobs are required to be there. Booking flights, jana, all kind. Who will do all that kind of thing? Why not she? And it's a motivational thing. Can you not think as a say a study lady is staying there so many years of it, he gets to spend 3 days in a 5-star hotel, coming, going by company, everything paid for this thing. Don't you think it's a motivational thing? It is motivational.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
So that's why I always felt like this thing that people had to be motivated for small little, and motivation doesn't mean every time you have got to give all big things, and it's a small little thing can be motivated. But people क्या होता है ना, motivation, people think that okay, आज हमको 4 आदमियों को motivate करना है, चलो motivate करेंगे. That's not. This motivation is not something like a tick mark activity. If there is an occasion, it has to be celebrated. And this I learned from SmithKline Beecham, the reward and celebrate.
Sure.
Everything reward, celebrate. Celebration has to be there. In our culture also it talks about that. Utsav is not a bad thing. It's a utsav has to be, there is a purpose of it.
So every small things, every small achievement needs to be celebrated.
Needs to be celebrated.
Rather, is it also important that every failure also needs to be celebrated?
Every failure has to be deliberated. It has to be deliberated, resolved, it has to be complete. Failure cannot be celebrated, but you can, if you learn something from that failure, that's a celebration. And that needs to be, what happened, we try to hide this thing. In my all management committee meeting, I used to always ask my manager, including myself, and I will do one, which did I excel and where I failed. I used to tell people, this is the place where I failed, this is the place where we didn't do well, this is the place, and 1 or 2 wrong decisions also we used to elaborate on that.
Correct. Wonderful. So, in so many years of your leadership journey, tell me any situation where your team has tested your patience.
That has happened many times. They did test my patience, but that was especially during the merger time. We had to submit a lot of data and all these things. And every time the data was asked by the company in some different way. Same data would be asked, same data will be asked something.
Different
so different format and all these things. So that was really tiring, very cumbersome, and irritating. So that is some places where I really found my patience was tested, because what was asked, even I myself was not clear. What I am expecting from my people, even they were also not very clear. So I am asking for X, they are giving Y, and Z is expected. So that was really very tiring and kind of.
But how you handled that?
No, that's sort of, because that was something again, sort of, the solution which we gave probably was that was not the real solution. And the reason was, solution was not even required. That was the main reason. As I told you, there are a lot of, in multinational, a lot of activities which are all valueless. No value added activity, no value added activity. I don't know why they do it. But if you don't do it, you are, now you are asking me where did I go wrong. Many places I never used to go for meeting, abroad especially. And I used to tell my boss, come on Nanti, I will send somebody junior fellow. I have to go by business class, then travel by staying in a big hotel there. Why should we spend money? So I used to avoid going. Can you imagine, this came in my way, that you tend to avoid senior corporate meetings. I feel that there is no value addition. I must learn something from that meeting. I am spending company's money. So my boss always says, Shyam, you are not spending money from your PF. Why do you worry? Where I made a mistake. I always felt that every money I spent was my money. Which sometimes you have to use your common sense also. Take an organization wants like that. Once or twice you can explain, but let us not try to teach somebody too much. It's okay. If that's a culture. Glaxo is a culture of meeting culture. Where do you have a next meeting? We will have a meeting for that. So, so what to do that kind of? Nothing great.
Yeah, true. So I think I'll start with some different question now. So, sir, we have, I think, tried to cover a lot of leadership aspect in your journey, what you learned, what you implemented. A very, very quick question. How does a normal day in your life looks like when you were a global head for Dabur or on so many important decision-making positions? How was the normal day look like for you?
One thing I can tell you, I made it a sort of a rule in my life that you, in any day, you do only essential things and keep major portion of your time for the thing which comes and that needs resolution immediately. For example, so many times on the floor or somewhere this thing, something will come, and I had seen the company where I can, most of the company there, people will try to procrastinate it to this thing, okay, we will take it on that particular thing, and there's a breeding the delay and breeding kind of thing and the inefficiency kinds of thing. So I always felt in a day, what is more important is what is important for that particular thing, and which is strategically, or if not, everything will wait, but urgency will prevail, because that's my number two kind of the sense of urgency. So my first thing in my day's planning was sense of urgency. What is urgency? To me, today maybe I sometimes I skip even the meeting, some important meeting I skip it, forget it about, but that is more important for me. I need to do. So that's the reason for any top man's life, the sense of urgency is the most important thing. Because urgency, what is urgent today may not be urgent tomorrow, and that won't happen so drastically, changes and all, some small little tidbit changes will be here and there, but if it happens, you should not stick to that. No, I will keep doing only this and let it go to hell. That doesn't happen like that, because you have got to be very preempt all the things and act to situation ASAP, sometimes yesterday, because nobody is waiting, because competitor is not waiting for you. They will definitely either at times take wrong decision or some different means and do it, and you will be left behind. So planning the day is my first priority, was the urgency, which is the topmost priority, and ritual may follow, because most of the time the MNC jobs and all, 90% is all ritual. I have seen this kind of thing. Sometimes the guys come for a check signature and all, this is a simple little thing, because this is not you are paying from your account. Even some high value checks you have to sign, and that fellow, that clerk is standing, poor fellow, this kind of, I mean, if he comes and I am reading something, 2 minutes he disturbs me, if I say nothing great is going to happen. But I had seen some guys, come at 4 o'clock. He says he is a working guy. His time, he has come all the way from his seat and again going back, and he cannot proceed anything at a, and nothing great is happening to you also. But just because I don't want to sign and I don't want to show him this thing that I sign, whenever the thing come to me, I said, so what? I had seen this kind of many people signing check or something like that. No, I have only come to me 4 o'clock. What 4 o'clock? Yeah? He say, how long it takes? You are not to pay for some, you are not to see whether the money is not. It is only as a, I mean, just because you are authorized signatory, that's the end of it. You are not even responsible for the payment. Responsible for the payment is something else. You are just authorized signatory, that's all. And this was told to me by one of my Zen Karachi wala, Rangoon wala, some Bhori fellow who was wearing Rangoon wala, or I think not Zen, Kasim Bhai Rangoon wala was a accountant in Lupin. So once he came to me and he asked me to sign some 15 crore rupees check. So I said, dear Kasim Bhai, I think this is the highest check I have ever signed in my life. And he was very fond of me, because both of us were fond of ghazal and music and all. So he said, Shyam Saab, very senior to me in age, so he used to call me my father. Shyam Saab, don't misunderstand me. ये 15 crore का sign आपने किया, this is not your authority to sign, you are just a signing authority. Your payment has been already approved by the chairman of the company. You are just signing it. It is nothing. Tomorrow a boy comes and he carries the check as a courier, so he cannot say कि मैं 15 crore का check लेके जा रहा हूँ. He just carry it, something like that. So you are not deciding authority whether ये 15 crore का लेना है. That has been decided by the chairman. You are just signing that thing because you are the signing signatory, nothing else. So thing went into my head. That is okay. यार क्या है उसमें तो काम ही है. So procedural aspect, and one must see sitting at the top the subordinates work, how important it is. Sometimes a subordinate always not keep doing unimportant work. Sometimes there is operational work and they need to be given priority. We always take pride in holding that. Come tomorrow, come next day, come. Why is it? You should, I mean, they require it, it's okay, they require it. Come on, fast. And there is it costs you nothing. I always felt in Glaxo, my door was open 24/7. My secretary, earlier fellow used to say, no, nobody can meet Mr. Nair, you have to take appointment. And I said, tell everybody, nobody can take appointment, you just walk in. If I am busy, I will say wait. If I am not busy, I will see and do this. That is how the things work. And 90% of the time, people at the top are never busy. They pretend to be busy. I don't know how many of them will speak truth or something like that. Nothing. What job you don't do any job, you get all the job done. You have to keep a tab of it. So what's so great about him? Somebody comes and you resolve his issue and he's done with quickly. This is how you create your image. This is a helping hand. This is a man you go to there. In Dabur, I had an image. Go to him and you get the solution. Research in Dabur was not reported to me, but all research guys used to report to me. They used to come and said, "यार, इनके पास जाओ solution मिल जाएगा."
Interesting.
So that image you have got to make. This man means solution. That's the end of it.
But do you think this kind of approach may backfire to entrepreneur? Reason being, let me give a context. Entrepreneur carries many hats, right? He wears so many hats together, and many times buck stops at his door. He doesn't have leaders who do all the job for him. So in that case, how things will move?
I answered your question very straight. I give you two examples. One is the Lupin. I never seen in my life a kind of company which has so much delegation of authority. We used to call DOA, delegation of authority. They knew the main decision is taken by the operational decisions has to be check signing simple. Similar thing in one of my company, check signing was like a big Panchavarshik Yojana. My God, you have got to see, then their fellow will see, think like they make a serious chehra as if he is doing all kinds of nonsense. If you are a head, your job is designated. If you are a purchase head, you will do the purchase job. If you are a project head, you will do the product. What's so great about it? You have been designated, you will take only that decision. You will not decide anything about project if you are a purchase head or HR like that. So what's so great about it? 90% is Hawa is made about the job. It is not an issue at all. It is all made up issues. I tell you, I have seen, I rose from this and sometimes I used to feel all the big bosses to be always busy. And when I went to that chair, I never found myself and I always available. How is that people, a lot many workers and all in Glaxo, a very big company and very senior workers and all, they used to come and, sir, how is that every time we come and you always talk to us? I said, Bilkul, you come to me and I talk to you. That's why you come to me for talking. I know talking, so we will do that. What's wrong in that? ऐसा पहले कभी नहीं हुआ. क्यों नहीं हुआ? करना ही नहीं चाहता था. Sir, I tell you, by my own experience, there is nothing like the top, unless you are traveling and doing something. There is nothing like busy and more you go up, you have more time. Okay. Only your subordinates don't have time. The poor fellows, they have to work on all this. You have to just say, why nahi hoga, that's all. So more time is required for them. Actually, work from home, the bosses shoots at home. So that the workers, the people below you, they get more time to do the work. I mean, time. My people in fun, they all say, sir, it is better you travel. Because हम लोगों को ना बहुत time मिलता है काम करने को. Because you keep on asking a lot of questions and all this, हमारा बहुत time. And it's a fact. Because I have been asked a lot of nonsensical questions by my boss that I will ask, but I am not there. Whom do you will ask?
Wonderful, wonderful. So now I think we have covered a lot of spectrum of leadership now. Let me wanted to know more about Mr. Shyam Khante as a person. So what kind of books? I know you are fond of reading, and you have a huge collection of books. So tell me about your favorite books and how you got inspiration from those books.
See, books I have been very fond of from my college life because and for that my father is responsible, because my father always said that don't borrow books from library. Library is meant for those days, I mean that's how the situation was. Library is meant for poor people, those who can't afford. My father said, I can afford. So I will, whatever book you want, I will borrow for you. Imagine my time, we never had this low price editions. They are a very expensive book. One of our book, Remington, Leishman and all, they were costing 200 rupees those days. When the cost of gold was 160 rupees tola, our Remington was costing 200 rupees, just about 2 lakh rupees. And I had all the books required this thing. So that thing went into my head that my father, sacrificing his personal luxuries and all this thing, he is buying books for me. My father used to use cycle throughout his life. He was a big, this thing. And he never used motorcycle, but he gave me motorcycle and scooter for going to college, because he felt I had tough life, but my son should not. So he said that I should give motorcycle, scooter, jo bhi, whatever my son want. So it has gone into my this thing that books, when my father has bought with so much of efforts and so much of this thing, well, you must read that thing probably. That's why when you ask me this question, I read all the books, and then that gave me this thing to buy books. Initially I used to buy only book concerning with work and all, but reading was my otherwise fond of a from my school, and for which my school, Somarwar High School, Nagpur, which is one of the topmost school in Nagpur. I mean, it is easier to get in IIT IIM than to get in Somarwar High School. So that was also responsible, because the school was literature wise or literary wise very high level, and I learned from my friends and all. So I used to always, in that case, I didn't buy many Marathi books for that matter, but whichever was required, I used to buy that. And for reading, I always felt that when you buy and read, that pleasure is much different than borrowing and reading. But then after this internet came and all these things, so that hobby little bit faded away.
You're still reading books every day?
I normally, because of my back pain and this thing, now my reading has reduced a lot because of my physical kind of thing. But you ask me a question as a Shyam Khante, what do you feel? And one of the two failures in my life, I would tell that, my personal life, the two failures, I neglected my family for work, which for work, every time I was traveling and all this thing. And second thing is I neglected my health also to large extent. So that is very sad, and that's my advice to everybody, that you must strike balance between work life and personal life. I neglected a lot of things. I mean, when my son was studying, I always felt that giving him facilities was something my job, but whether he needs or not, that I never checked. When he was studying in Bangalore, whenever my wife used to say, get him over here. So I will ring up my, everything has a big company, so I will tell my secretary, tell the Bangalore Judge chap to send a car for him, get a car, ticket book karo, and then send him at the airport. And so within 1 minute, everything was organized. The ticket will reach his hostel, and he will be brought for. So many times he came just in no second he used to be there. Once he asked me, Daddy, not even once you asked me how I want to come from Bangalore to Bombay. Baki, the other boys, they go, no, they go unreserved, they go in a bus, they do that hulladbaji and all. I wanted to come like that, but I always came by air, I always came kind of thing. So unnecessarily I got discriminated in my friends that this fellow is a rich man's or big boss's son and call the kind of. Whenever I used to go to Bangalore, I used to call him in the hotel, his friends and all, and big parties and all this kind of thing. He said, I always wanted to go to the dhaba and all this thing, all the roadside street food and all. You never asked me what I want. You always did what is your status needs. And that's a great mistake I did. He always wanted to buy the clothes which are available as a raste pe milte. I always say that he should buy the branded one and all kind of thing. He wanted to buy the jo milta hai na, sab aisa wala, kuch bhi aisa pehnne ka. So I always try to impose my wishes on him, which is a major mistake we do as a parent.
I think it requires a very big heart to accept such kind of mistakes on the camera, frankly.
No, it's okay. It's a fact. You always feel that I give all the kind of thing to. I mean, it's not. You must ask what he wants. Whether he wants it or not, the things have gone. And what I felt, I didn't get this thing in my life, so you should get. You might not have got. That's your problem. You should not superimpose your problem with this kind. So that's a great. And second thing is, many times I neglected my health. I had a major accident in Aurangabad, which had a pain in my back, and doctor advised me 3 months rest. I just took 8 or 10 days rest and went back to work. That's a sad thing. You shouldn't do this kind of. This kind of adventures, you become a hero for some time, but you have to pay in a very long run.
Beautiful thoughts, sir. So I think this interview can go for long and long and long, but let's try to conclude it right for this episode. So what would be your, like, of course you have given your advice also, but I think one last advice to the youngsters who are currently looking at you as a inspiration, looking at these different leadership roles in pharma industry. And currently the situations are of course very dynamic, very different than the situations in couple of decades ago. So what would be your advice for them right now? How they can strive in their career, their professionals, and can achieve a success the way you have tested?
See, my advice, if at all I am capable of doing that, to the young generation is first and foremost, you should have clarity what you want to do. Do not accept career as a sort of a stopgap kind of thing, or because this is not available that I am doing as a sort of that. Of course, there are occasions in this thing you have to have A, B, C plan and all this thing, but that should be akin to or aligned to each other, not that X, Y, Z just like that. So first, once you have the clarity, my sincere advice to everybody is that if you feel that there is a shortcut, that is not something which maybe there are some stray examples you may find that somebody has excelled because of that short, but in a long run, sincere hard work and absolutely in-depth knowledge about the thing, that's the only key to success, nothing else.
Wow.
I mean, if Bill Gates could be a middle school dropout, I don't think you will take out your son from school and ask him to leave. That is not. Bill Gates is okay, one example or something like that. Somebody may be, but that doesn't happen like that. So we have to, for us, I mean, at least that's one. And I didn't get anything in my life without very, very thing. You know, even in my GSK days, I was the only guy to reaching the office at 8 o'clock and leaving it at 10 p.m. and all that kind of thing. So which is, I'm not doing any SN or anything kind of, required is required, not my inefficiency. Sometimes you will say, no, you must learn to do it in 10 days. So it doesn't happen that way. Okay, sometimes you have got to, but if you sometimes you have got all the things to your this thing. But I have seen in the West also, in GSK also I have seen that the top they also work very hard. Whatever they may say, they also work very hard. And that's why I reinforce my statement in saying that even if you have to work, I mean, maybe great guys like Narayan Murthy say that you can work only this, okay, fine. Maybe that particular industry, but or maybe he's talking about very great people and all this thing, but at least a common man, what I feel, there is no substitute for this kind of thing. You will have to go through the drill. You can say luck and all this thing is always there.
I think Narayan Murthy second your opinion.
Huh?
Narayan Murthy always seconds your opinion also. He also says that our country right now required minimum 70 hours of work by the youngsters. Otherwise, we cannot become a developed country like that.
Right.
People take the statement in a very different context, and so it is very easy for the keyboard warrior to write anything and thrash person like Narayan Murthy. But I think what you are also saying, we cannot compromise on what needs to be delivered.
It has to be this one, and that's why even when I am in a consultancy job and all this thing or an advisory, I'll tell you very frankly, I have also to read a lot and this thing even when we talk something. I mean, nothing is easy, and if you take it easy, then it's something like that. It doesn't happen like that. It's very, very sincere, and you need to take efforts to. These days, the information is available at the stroke of your and if it is available, people expect you to also.
Yeah, exactly.
So if not you, he has also read, no?
Yeah,
This
exactly.
is a question. He has come very prepared to, after this, he has read the information and come. So then you will be looking as a fool. You will be looking as a fool that if you answer some absurd kind of answers, if you that, you have to be to the point, and that will come only when, again, I just know that if you know the subject well. If you don't know, then that kind of wishy-washy thing keeps happening. It's very sad. Doesn't happen.
Well said, sir. Great, sir. Thanks a lot for your wonderful time and wonderful wisdom, I will say. Not just experience or suggestion, but these are the wisdoms what you have shared. I'm sure our audience will learn a lot from it. Rather, I personally did. I feel I was not asking a questions for podcast. I was actually asking the questions for myself. These are my daily life challenges which I was trying
neither
to
I was answering for any podcast. I mean, I just spoke natural kind of thing, whatever. Even sometimes here and there and all these things. So you ask and the things come naturally kind of thing. So because I tell you that the examples and all these things that I have done it. So it's not from the book
yeah,
and all.
exactly.
And there are lot many things to be for waiting it and all these things. So there's no use. And these days, if you talk bullshit, it could be exposed in no seconds.
Any way. I agree.
Doesn't happen.
So once again, sir, thanks a lot for your time.
Oh, thank you very much for your lesson. I'm very happy to be part of this podcast.
Absolutely, sir. Sure. So time for rapid round questions.
Yes.
Yeah, ready?
Yes.
Okay. So first question. So one leadership habit you never compromise on.
Hard work.
Hard work. Wonderful. Okay. Another one. Once again from leadership segment. One leadership mistake that taught you the most.
Leadership mistake without the most leader make a mistake, which is not deliberating or not investigating or not doing a proper analysis of the mistake. That is the biggest mistake you do, or rather hiding the mistake is the biggest mistake.
Very interesting. I think you also talk about integrity. So hiding the mistake is once
Most
again against the integrity.
Most people don't speak about mistakes, and they feel that hiding or suppressing or camouflaging is a great strategy. It's not. At least your team, you should be very frank and talk. So according to me, that's also very great leadership quality. And own the failures.
Own the failures.
Right?
That's very important. True. Okay, sir. Next one. So what is tougher job? Managing people or managing yourself?
Managing ourselves is a tougher job. Not people.
Really? Okay, interesting. Okay, so what test a leader more? High performer or underperformers?
The test of the leader, I will say, because I have been always on the side of performance, it is a
High performers. So that always test the leaders.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so one sign someone is not ready for leadership.
Not leadership is taking too much time to accept. That itself is a sign of not ready for taking a leadership.
It's very nice, sir. It's very beautiful answer. Wonderful. Okay, so the last one. Hardest thing to delegate early in your career.
Hardest thing to
Delegate early in your career.
it doesn't come to my mind offhand any example just like that. What was the toughest? In the early career, tell you very frankly, it was a sort of all learning curve. So most of the thing was just a learning curve. It all comes in the latter part of this in the senior kind of thing which has happened. So I always feel that two parts of my life, the earlier part was just a sort of a learning where I never bothered about leadership quality and all this kind of thing. Learn, get to refine, that's all. So probably the earliest part I couldn't have any ready, I don't have any ready example to give you.
Okay. Anyway, so I will add one more question. Material success, necessity or distraction?
It's required at some times.
It's required?
It's required. See, for example, there are a lot of people dependent on you. So you are working, you are not a robot. There is a family for you, there is something for you. So I give you the example of my wife
Malabar
asking me
Hill,
that Malabar Hill. I said, go to hell, I want to stay there. Now for that, she was ready to sacrifice her a lot of personal things and time and all. I said, fine, that's all. Nothing comes free.
That's wonderful. That's great. Nice answer, sir. Thanks a lot
Okay.
once again.